Hello out there, world. Welcome to Season 3 of Wheelbite. Humblest apologies for the long hiatus we have been on, but we are back and more motivated than ever to bring you another season of the show. Kick things off since we've been gone so long, and where we left off was with a current events episode, so we figured we'd do another one to get things going since we have a lot to catch up on. Few things we didn't get to talk about. When we recorded this, the Milton Martinez cover had not been released, and I definitely feel he is a likely contender for Skater of the Year. Somehow, amidst everything, we forgot to discuss the welcome video. Seance was one of our favorites this year. At least one of my favorites. I can't really speak for Jeremy, but I thought that video was fucking great. Loved that they skated a lot of spots that you don't always see, and that the trick selection was really interesting, and the soundtrack was perfect. Some of my favorite bands, including Cold Cave and the Swirlies, which is funny because Cold Cave singer Wes Eisold once told me the Swirlies was his first concert he ever attended. So I don't know if that was planned, but it worked out that way. Regardless, 2019's brought us a lot of cool shit. Can't wait to dive in with you guys. Welcome to Season 3.
Welcome to San Francisco.
Don't skate here.
I feel like it's dangling by a fucking strain of bone marrow.
East Coast powerhouse.
From the New York, I stab you in the Russian war.
Carter, it is fucking Friday the fucking 10th.
I'll give you $100 and I'll take out the Benihana's if you slide that 75-foot handrail.
I especially like the flip of the board.
What up, what up? Welcome to yet another episode of Wheelbite, coming at you live with season number 3. I am host one of two, Ted Theodore Mater. With me, as always, is
Jay Green here.
Yeah, we just live in the studio right now, fucking smoking that wax pen, getting weird, and we are going to be kicking off some things with 2019. What's been going on? How we living? Both Jay and I have been around the world this past year. It's been pretty gnarly between all the shit happening in our personal lives, in skating. It's just been a lot, so we're finally getting back in the saddle and coming out with a new season. Jay, what has been your favorite skate thing of 2019?
Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to have an elaborate answer for you like I usually do. A multi-parted
I mean, it can
answer.
be surface level, dude. It's fine.
Man. Actually, I was thinking to myself that this year hasn't been uneventful, but maybe like a little more quiet in the skate world. But that's kind of a ridiculous thing to say because new shit is coming out multiple times a day, literally every day. But I felt like last year was just like super fucking action packed, and
oh yeah,
the year's not over. We got a couple months left, but
especially the big push before Sodi.
You're right. Well, we're starting to see it right now. I don't know, my favorite thing, boy, I don't know, maybe the Suchu part that just came out at the time we're recording this. And I really liked the short Supreme Nike SB dunk edit that came out. I really like that kid, Caleb Barnett. I always love Kevin Bradley footage. They're in Europe too, which makes it super dope. And it's not the most like tech, like new age tech mind-blowing skating, but it's very, very stylish, and they're skating good, dope spots with dope background, great song. It's funny for me to say that's one of my favorite things when it's like a couple minute edit.
That's fine. I mean, that's all that can hold most of our attention spans these days.
I really like the Sour Solution video.
That's
That
what I was
dope.
about to say. I mean, my favorite thing this year has definitely been Sour Solution 2. Came out right at the beginning of the year, but I can't think of a video this year that has like blown my mind more than that one. Just the skating, the music choices.
Trick selection. Those
Yeah.
dudes are on some other shit.
Yeah, the way they look at spots is crazy, you know? It's just unbelievable what they're capable of, and you know, it's always nice to see spots too that you don't see in every single fucking video, like over
Right.
and over and over again. And that's why I love it.
My favorite thing in the skate world, because I'm a weird, devious motherfucker, it was Miles Silvis quitting numbers.
Yeah, about that. You know, when Numbers started, I think we were all kind of excited as the skate community to see Guy Mariano and Eric Costin start their own company, and not only that, to only have like 5 or 6 riders, and those riders were like the most elite people in skating, you know, at that moment. But they haven't really done much as a company, which sucks.
Costin and Guy are just too busy at the bank cashing Nike checks.
Yeah, just it's proof that you got to be out there in the fucking trenches, getting your hands dirty, eating shit, and going for it if you want to be a successful company. You know, having your name be attached to something in skating just isn't enough at this point, and that's proof. Because, I mean, let's just go to the Sour Solution quick. Some of those dudes are huge in the European skate scene, but as far as like compared to someone like a Guy or a Costin, you know, they're small potatoes to an extent. But those dudes put out one of the most interesting videos of the year, something that will be remembered. Like when we look back on this year in 10 years in the grand scheme of skateboarding, we'll probably all still be talking about how the Sour Solution 2 video was fucking insane, and it was just so unique and ahead of its time. While Numbers, like, they haven't even put anything out. They've put a couple internet edits out, and that's it.
It's like they tried to do almost like what Primitive has done, but cool guy it. With, like, meaning, like, I see, like, Plan B, Primitive, and Numbers kind of all in the same bunch as, like, these companies, these big polarizing companies who have tried to put super teams together. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just get a little pleasure out of it because, like you said, I was totally entertained and stoked when Numbers came out and was, you know, clawing at the footage, loved the team. Rodrigo and Miles are like 2 of my absolute favorite skaters ever, and
those are 2 such great names to start your team with.
Now that it's been a while, like a couple years or so, you know, like it's maybe fallen flat a little bit, and I just like the idea, kind of like what you're saying, the idea of being able to put together a really successful, very trendy, in the world and time and age of very trendy skate companies, you know, being successful. I think that's what they were going for. I think that they're suffering from it, and I think, you know, we don't know what it's like to run a big business like that or be able to pay these big names. I'm sure there's, you know, plenty and a lot of bullshit that goes behind it, but it kind of gave me a little, it kind of, you know, like made me a little happy that they're having to like fight and like pay a little bit, meaning Miles quitting and losing probably their biggest rider.
Oh, absolutely. That was their biggest rider. I mean, Rodrigo is a huge name, don't get me wrong, but he's been doing it for like 20 some odd years at this point.
Yeah.
Miles is like a fresh face and name in skating in the best way possible. Everyone knows who he is. He's worked really hard the last 5 to 10 years to come up and make something of himself from his time on Organica to now, like
For
you
real.
look and see that development.
Yo, how crazy is skateboarding now, though? Like, thinking back on it with, like, calling Primitive and Numbers and a couple others, like, super teams, it's so much like sports now. Like seriously,
People
like,
getting traded.
yeah,
and
like you know, that's where the term super team or whatever comes from, is like the NBA. Basically, he basically got traded from one super team to another, from going from Numbers to Primitive.
Yeah, but Primitive, I mean, we've gone over my thoughts on Paul Rodriguez many times before and Primitive, and I thought Numbers didn't have an image, but I thought conceptually and like who the team was much more memorable than something like Primitive. But then at the same time, like,
Yeah, but Primitive puts out like 10 edits a year of
yeah, I know.
bangers.
Yeah, I get it. That's their thing. That's their market. They're the banger
It's
market.
not weird enough for Ted.
Nope.
It's not avant-garde enough for Ted.
Nope. Maybe if they started using, like, I don't know, weird abstract Velvet Underground songs or something as their soundtrack, I might dive in head first, but until then, no.
Well, anyways,
But going off,
in
I wanted to bridge this, though, to fucking Shane O'Neill starting his company, too, which is just what I feel is more of the same of that motif, you know?
Yeah.
April Skateboards dropped their first edit, and it was like, it's him, and it's Yuto, and they're doing, like, the most unfathomable tricks you could ever imagine.
yeah,
But, again, it's just more of that, like...
it seems more
bangers.
organic though.
You think that seems more organic?
I think a person like Shane O'Neill starting a company and just having it. I had listened to the little story he told on 9 Club. I think him starting a company and having it like kind of blossom this way is definitely more organic than Guy Mariano and Eric Costin starting this company with a team full of, legends.
Yeah, I can understand.
But
your
I
point
totally
there.
agree with you that they're all kind of in the one in the same.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know, none of them have that specific image. But then again, no companies really have like a unique carved out image anymore.
That's
You know-
not necessarily true.
Not as many. I mean, when you look back like 15, 20 years ago, everyone had their niche. There was certain things that set them apart. Maybe it was the graphics, maybe it was how they advertised, maybe it was the music they used. I don't know, but now today it's like so many of those companies just kind of bleed together and blend together, and only so much stuff sets them apart.
I wanted to say, I'm glad you brought up April because I kind of forgot about that actually. But I wanted to say, in the midst of all this shit with Miles, he put out a banger ass part
Yeah.
for PLA, which is just a shop. And shout out Gary Rogers with the fucking hilarious commentary talking about what the fuck this dude put out, probably the best part of the year for just a skate shop. We don't see that shit anymore, I immediately think back to the FTC videos.
Which were like lackluster to an extent, like in the
Yeah,
sense
but there's
that...
some legendary parts
Well,
of those.
yeah, I'm not denying that, but I mean, even Meza tells the story about how LeVar told him, like, how he didn't want to use any of his good footage for the FTC video, and he was saving it all for
Right,
Blind.
and that even goes further to proving Gary Rogers' point. But there's kind of no real rules in the skate world and content world and industry now, which is it's dope.
But at the same time as all these new companies are coming out, dropping these little edits that are just full of bangers, we're currently in a month right now where we're getting 3 full lengths from 3 companies that were so heavy when we were growing up. We've got a new Toy Machine video that just dropped. We've got a new Zero video that just dropped, and we got a new Baker video dropping in a couple months from now. So, like, what year is this? It's like 2000 all over again.
Ted is excited, guys.
I'm really excited about the Toy Machine video above all of those. Like, the Zero video will be cool. You know, it got that Gabriel Summers guy to go pro. Someone said a while, I think it was Jamie himself said a while ago, this might be his last, like, really big part that he's, like, going for it on, because he's getting old. And then, like, you got Tommy Sandoval, but that dude is, like, at this point, Zero's longest running pro, because most of them have left. You still have Dane Berman on there killing it, but the Toy Machine video, like, we're going to have full parts from Colin Provost, Blake Carpenter, Daniel Lutheran, all throwing it down for their board sponsor. Ed Templeton wrote this big thing on Instagram the other day about how proud he was of the team, mainly, though, because they didn't have a big budget behind this. It's not like, you know, Tommieto is plugging them with loads and loads of cash to, like, travel all around the world. It was just that they were kind of self-motivated to go out there and make this video as good as they could. But the rumor that I've been hearing is that Leo Romero went fucking hard for this video.
Well, good on them to those companies for still keeping the whole video alive, you know, with
Yeah.
a whole filming of a video, a premiere, and not just throwing it straight online, although there's a good chance that they will be.
I feel like Toy Machines are the type that will put it out. Zero, too, for that matter. Like, Zero's always been good about putting out physical copies of their videos, but I'm hoping Toy Machine does because, you know, Ed Templeton is always about that, like, unique experience and having art and something to actually look at and hold and whatnot.
Are you going to pick up physical copies of all three?
Fuck yeah, I am, dude. Are you kidding me?
Do you own every single Toy Machine, Zero, and Baker video?
I have Baker bootleg 2G and 3 all on VHS. I have... The only Zero video I don't have is Strange World, which was like kind of the weird era, like after New Blood, where like Alyssa Steamer was on the team and shit like that. And then I don't have Brainwash, the Toy Machine video from like 2010 or 11, whenever that came out. That's the only Toy Machine video I don't have. But I'm just stoked. Like, if Leo Romero did go dummy for a part, like, it's weird to say because he's probably only a little older than you and myself. But, like, Leo Romero's getting old.
Damn.
Like, if he did go dummy for this last part, then that's crazy because Leo Romero is climbing the ladder of age. Meanwhile, like, when it comes to Baker 4, I can only guess who will have
Baker's really good at cycling their talent. You know what I mean? Like, they are good at keeping their core crew, but also, like, consistently introducing new people. So
Totally.
Obviously, Cater. And,
I don't think Cater would have Enders, but if I had to put my money on it, I'm going to say Figgy probably is going to have last part.
Baker always shows out for sure.
Yeah, because
and they got a couple new dudes too.
Well, I was thinking too, like, oh, what about Jamie Foy? But that's Death Wish. That's like, you know, a girl putting out a video and having a chocolate guy have the last part. Mm-hmm. So we'll find out, but I'm pretty fired up for all three of those videos. I don't know how or when I'm going to be able to see them, but as soon as I can, I will. And speaking of Baker and our guy Andrew Reynolds, pretty big news that Andrew Reynolds left America after all these fucking... And Brian Herman. The two of them left their shoe sponsor that they've had for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
That's absurd to me.
You think of Emerica, you immediately think of Andrew Reynolds.
Yeah, he's always put out like the best parts for that company. You know, both This Is Skateboarding and Stay Gold are legendary video parts. He had last part in both of those videos. Mm-hmm. And now he's on to Vans.
He's capitalizing on the legend train.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what though? He probably should, because Vans is probably giving him a lot of money. I know Justin Regan, who used to run America is now the manager over at Vans.
Okay.
So I'm sure he was promised quite a bit of money because he is that legend. And at this point, with Andrew Reynolds not skating like nearly as much as he used to, he needs to have that financial cushion of comfort. I don't blame him for what he did. However, I did make sure I copped one last pair of his Americas.
It's weird seeing him on Instagram skating in Vans, but I don't know. He's been skating with Cater a lot, and I'm not necessarily mad at it. I think it's been received a little softer because it's not Nike or Adidas. And even though Vans is a big, like, pretty corporate, company, I think the Nike and Adidas jump usually is like a little more rough for people.
Well,
as far as the haters.
Well, Vans is still a skate company. Nike and Adidas are so much more than that, but Vans is still 100% a skate shoe company.
And it makes sense for Reynolds, his whole image and everything. It makes sense that he would do that. Whatever, I'm not mad at it. Get your money. He's a legend. At this point, he deserves it,
I love, too, that with that news, though, America announced that, Dakota Servold was their new guy, and that dude rips, and he's awesome, but if they think that's going to fill the void...
Hey, I'm sure that's not the plan. It might be, some sort of marketing ploy, but that's, they know Reynolds can never be replaced. And it's a shame because... in the world of Vans, Nike, and Adidas, America is still a tiny little company.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't see another small company suffer and phase out, but, this is just the times that we're dealing with.
Yeah, shoe companies be vanishing as well as board companies. Sometimes it just happens. But for every company that we lose, we gain others. And one company that I think right now is prospering so well, and it's so great to see that they put out another full length this year. And that's 917. Anyone who's listened to this show before knows how obsessed I was with the first 917 video.
You were super stoked for this one.
I was super stoked. I didn't think it had the same impact on me that the first one had. The first one just, won me over in a way that very few things do. It's like when you hear an album for the first time, you immediately...
Yeah.
Finish it and put it back on.
You're going to be chasing that high from the first 917 video forever.
Yeah, well, that's why I had Sour Solution too, so now that's the high that I'm chasing.
Yeah.
But the new 917 video was great. I love Cyrus Bennett. I love Max Palmer. I still think that they have a great ability of picking out good songs that are not necessarily the fucking trap music that everyone fucking loves to set their edits to, or it's not whatever's trendy. They had fucking Popular by Not a Surf in the video. I don't know if you know that song. Super 90s alt rock gem. And when it came on, I was like, what the fuck is this song? I know this fucking song. But it works. It's great. And they have a good team. They have good music. And their trick selection, it's more about style than it is about substance. One of the things that I loved in that video that you and I got into a bit of a debate on was someone did a hurricane over the grate at Flushing, and you're like, oh, well, that's already been done. And I was like, I don't know if it has, and I guess if it has, someone please correct us on the internet. But just a hurricane over Flushing, so much has been done over the grate. Every combo you could imagine has probably been done over that grate. But a hurricane is a fucking great and weird trick to throw over something like that.
For some reason, I'm remembering someone else doing it a long time ago, but I totally could be wrong, which doesn't take away from the trick, but yeah, we were going back and forth about if someone had done it or not. I thought the 917 video was okay. I wasn't super hyped on it. It's a lot of the same looking skating. You know, they do kind of the montage style. Yeah, I do like that it's not all heavy, big gap, mind-blowing tech bangers like we see a lot of footage nowadays. I love that stylish skateboarding is coming back, and this is something we've been talking about a lot lately. The same how I felt about the Nike Supreme Dunk edit that came out. Is, you know, like good spot selection, good background to be filming, good music, and it's not just like the biggest names in the industry doing mind-blowing hammers. So I appreciate it for that, but I thought the video was a little wonky, maybe a little abstract, and I don't know, I wasn't extremely entertained by it.
Like I said, I didn't think it packed the same punch as the first one did. That doesn't take away from the fact that there was some good stuff, and it was, you know, its own unique thing. It's hard to come... I think it was Nas who once said, you have your whole life to write your first album, and then 2 years to write your second album. So when 917 was initially conceptualized, you know, they had all the time in the world to put something together that they thought was going to be worth it. And if you've ever listened to Alex Olson tell the story of how that video came together, it's kind of ridiculous because he's like, he didn't think it was going to happen, and they were trying to get it out there, and it just wasn't working the way he thought it was. And then when the first video came out, it was really well received. But once it's out, now you have to come back with something else.
Well, I don't know, it's the old curse that no sequel is ever as good as the original, and
Except Home Alone.
yeah, and Terminator,
True.
and possibly RoboCop. And it's also, you know, and it's how it's received by the viewer, you know, because again, like, it's a different feeling when you're watching something part two other than, you know, the very first thing. So
The other thing that embodies a sequel that has been great is the rebirth of some of our favorite spots in skateboarding. I'm, of course, looking at Embarcadero right now, especially since it's local. So this is Embarcadero Part 2, I guess. You know, all these years later now, it's being rebirthed, and you're seeing people hanging out there all the time again, skating.
yeah, well, more specifically, like specific crews, so like the Supreme dudes, the GX dudes. You're seeing a bunch of people roll through there, and they're, you know, they've waxed up a couple of the ledges that aren't knobbed over there, and you're seeing people get super creative. But yeah, there's been a total comeback of it, which is funny because nothing has changed there.
Yeah.
For the last like 15 years.
Yeah, and the same with Union Square right now. Union Square has been making a massive comeback as well.
Like that, like EMB has been exactly like that, minus the fountain being drained or not, has been like that forever, and no one thought to wax anything or get creative or skate anything. And now it's just like, it's really funny to me that like even a skate spot like that can become so trendy when like there's so much doper shit to skate in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah,
but you know, the history is there, and it looks good, and it sounds good, and it just has that old feel to it, and it's cool to see a spot like that be attacked in new, different ways. But it's just, you know, it's very typical of the skateboard world and industry, and the cool guy factor of like that being a hot spot now, when it's like, yo, that's been there forever.
That's why I think it's so funny when the Supreme crew rolls to town and they just go and skate like EMB and Union Square a ton. It's like, yo, there are so many other spots that you haven't even touched that are like in the fucking nooks and crannies of the cities.
It's the aesthetic they're going for, you know, which is their thing. But yeah, I totally agree that like it's just so trendy, and like, I don't know, just a cool guy circle of like hanging out there and drinking brews and smoking spliffs, and it's like, all right, that's cool, but like, there's, I don't know. I like seeing the footage, but I just think it's interesting and kind of corny that even a skate spot like that can become so trendy.
And then on the flip side of that, some spots are going and then coming back. Like, one of the big news stories this year was that someone went to El Toro one day and found it, like, completely ripped out.
Well, they put a like tread before the stairs, I think, in an attempt to skate stop it. So they really didn't do anything. I think they redid the stairs and they tried to skate proof it.
Right.
Which someone with the quickness just put, I think, Quickcrete over it or Bondo or whatever.
Yeah. And that's what's so funny, everyone on the internet was bugging out. They're like, El Toro's gone. No one's ever going to be able to do El Toro again. But that's not true. Of course, they'll always find ways, just the same way with EMB. Like, all that they had to do was move a few knobs and wax a couple ledges, and that was that. And the same can be said for something like El Toro, even though it's like a giant set that you're not going to just hang out at in session all day. It's one of those spots that you either make or break. But there are spots where you hang out all day, and one of those actually is under attack right now, and we've been seeing a lot of that here in America, but it's with Machba. We see the updates all the time. Save Machba.
The Save Machba campaign, and it's real. It's very, very real. I was just in Barcelona not too long ago, and if you haven't been out there recently, or if you've never been out there, there's a serious, I don't want to say attack, because honestly, to keep it real, a lot of it is very warranted, but yeah, an attack against skateboarding and skate culture out there. But you know how skaters do. We've fucked it up for ourselves.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a simple thing if you want to save Machba. Like, stop skating there late at night. Stop leaving all your fucking beer cans behind. Like, these are simple little things that will allow the spot to stay intact.
Well, they've shut down the curfew a lot earlier now too. So if you know about the spot, you've ever been there, or have a friend who's been there, it's also like a huge party spot. So like, it's not just the skaters, but a lot goes on there, as I'm sure you could imagine. There's a lot of drug dealing going down, there's a lot of robbery, there's a lot of drinking going on from 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way until I think it's midnight now, that the cops every single night come through and kick everyone out. And on busy nights, sometimes that's hundreds, maybe even thousands of people.
It's like Love Park all over again, and we all know how that ended. So
yeah,
if you're visiting Barcelona, or if you live in Barcelona, stop fucking it up, yo. Like,
yeah,
we want to skate Machba as long as humanly possible.
Clean up after yourself, man.
And that's such a simple thing. I mean, dude, even my homies here in San Francisco had a birthday party at the Island, and the rule at the end of the party was everyone had to fucking clean up.
Yeah.
And like, they did. They
Don't
put
be a piece of
everything in
shit.
like a nice pile right by the garbage can.
Yeah.
So that no one could complain. Like,
Yeah.
they did. It's such a simple and responsible thing to do, and it'll fucking save so much in skating if we can all just learn to do that shit.
If we lose Machba, a huge epicenter of our culture is going to be stripped, and let's not fuck it up for ourselves. Honestly, that museum in the city of Barcelona has been so fucking cool for so long to allow all that shit.
Yeah, and they could easily be dicks.
Yeah.
It would not be hard. It's an art museum. It's not a fucking skate park. It's not some, like, cool, hip, young person's thing. It's a fucking art museum.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to be dicks and kick everyone out, they easily fucking could. But thank God they don't, because it's one of the best skate spots in the world.
Save Machba and shout out the Machba Life Instagram.
Oh, yeah. The best Instagram account out there. You want to talk about seeing consistent, good viral content.
Yeah.
Machba Life has forever provided that to us.
Never a dull moment at Machba. Oh boy.
Ugh.
Just sit there and people watch. It's the best.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond that, like, beyond the skating, there's just so much there. And
Let's switch back to rolling through this year's events. There's so much. This is like almost we could do like a 5-part current event episode.
Yeah, I mean, with all the stuff in skating that happens day in and day out, you know, it really just keeps on going and going and going.
Yeah.
And especially living here in the Bay Area, we see so much, and like,
yeah, now with the scene out here and everything, it's
yeah. Well, Jay and I were privy to one thing that was a viral fucking sensation this year. Our homie D blew up on Instagram for doing a front flip. Like, he launched off a ramp on one board.
The flip heard around the world.
Did a front flip, landed on another board, and it got reposted by fucking everybody. And we just happened to be
there.
Yeah, we were shit-faced in front row.
We didn't happen to be there. We're there very often.
Yeah, that's our...
At Everyday Skate Shop.
Yes. Everyday Skate Shop. That's the place where it happened.
Left Side Skateboard teaser release party. Let's not get it twisted. Left Side Skateboards. Everyday SF Skate Shop. What's up to the homies?
But yeah, you know, that's the beauty of living in this city, is you do get to witness shit like that in front of you all the time if you're lucky. And that was one night where we were pretty lucky. We got to just see something wild like that go down, which we didn't think was even necessarily going to happen, because it all kind of started out as a joke.
It's funny for an old guy like myself in this internet age to like see stuff like that and like see something go viral, because it sounds hella cliche and corny, but like in the moment you're not like, you're just like, oh, he's trying to flip onto another board. You're not like, oh, this is gonna go viral, like, oh, this is gonna be an internet sensation, shared 10 million times on Instagram, blah blah blah. But as soon as it happened, and like as things started to unfold, it was like, okay, this is probably gonna be one of those things.
Yeah. And it's funny, on the same night that we were doing our stuff at Everyday, there was the premiere for the Deep Fried video. Like, their crew put out a full length. And, you know, we've commented on the other Deep Fried edits that we've seen within the last year or two. And those dudes are kind of like, it's like the GX1000
Give it to him,
spinoff.
Ted. Come on. Let's get your real feelings.
Like, I often refer to it as GX Lite.
It's very similar skating.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, this...
and some of even the same guys.
Yeah, some of the same people, the same style, and that's the thing. That is a style in the Bay Area right now that it's a real thing.
We're talking about the one-hit hill bomb.
Yeah, hit the thing, see how many kickflips and wall rides you can do in a city block going downhill. And it's a great style of skating, but, like...
We get it.
Yeah, we get it. It's a lot of the same shit. And I mean, we're not knocking it like, oh, it's fucking terrible. Like, because I can't do that shit. I can't do kickflips going 150 miles an hour downhill. Like, hell no. I'm lucky if I can do a kickflip standing still, let alone fucking going downhill like that. But at the same time, it's just too much of the same thing over and over and over again.
With the popularity of the GX crew growing and just, you know, their edits coming out over the last couple years, and it's just, you know, it's another one of those things in the skateboard world that, like, it's a trend.
Right.
You know, and people see it and they see that it's cool and it's well received and it's very dangerous and gnarly and super hardcore. And so, you know, people emulate it, you know, and it is very a very dope brand of skating, and it's kind of pulling from a lot of how the footage looked in FTC2 Penal Code.
Yeah.
You know, skating down the street, hitting school, outside of the schools, or homes, or driveways, or city benches, and it's kind of the new rebirth of that, which I think is super dope. But you're right. Like, there's only so many ollies and kickflips and wall rides you could do over a driveway and bomb a hill to keep someone's interest.
And that video was long. Like, it was cool. I was stoked that they got it together and put a full length out, because the deep fried edits I've seen before were like 10 minutes or less before, and they were good, but this was like, okay, we're putting out a full length, we're putting our people on the fucking scoreboard, showing what they're capable of, and all those dudes are definitely fucking talented, but as far as like a full length that's going to keep me engaged for the 45 minutes that it is, like, I just wanted something more, something a little more diverse in terms of what they were going for. I was, however, happy to see they were skating a handful of spots that I was like, that are great, that you don't see enough of. For example, the Glen Park BART station. You know, that's a spot that it's got all the potential in the world for people to be constantly skating it, but it's just kind of crusty, and Glen Park is kind of a random part of town to go to skate. But they, you know, they made it a big part of their video.
How about on the opposite spectrum, opposite side, the Palace video that kind of, sort of came out of nowhere?
Yeah, it was very... I mean...
Was it a video? Was it an edit? Like,
I guess it's somewhere in between, because it was like a little over 10 minutes long, but it's... Those dudes are all so good, and their skating is so grimy, but, like, clean at the same time. Like, because they're hitting, like, some gnarly spots around Europe, but everything they do looks so perfect. And that's the same with the Sour Solution crew, too. Like, they're skating all these spots in Europe that are old and crusty, but they make it look so good and so crisp. And that's why I love European skateboarding so much in that regard.
And Palace, for being the trendy monster that they are, they keep it pretty real. Like,
Absolutely.
they put out a lot of fucking content, and they have a super sick roster, and it's never any, like, bullshit filler, honestly. Like, you know, they have their own weird editing style and whatever, but, like, they kind of like hit you over the head with just like raw, gritty fucking street footage constantly.
And their team, yeah, they have a great team. Like Lucian Clark, Blondie McCoy, Benny Fairfax are all.
Blondie's gone.
Blondie's gone.
Yeah, he's left Palace.
I thought he was in that last edit though, wasn't he?
He may have been, but he's left Palace at this point. Yeah.
Well, my point is like, you're right. They are a fucking trendy ass thing. Like, how many times do you go to fucking trendy ass touristy places and you see like weird people wearing fucking Palace jackets and shit?
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those skateboard streetwear brands that have transcended outside of skateboarding.
Right,
and
but they still
resold, and
like Supreme, they really cling to their fucking skateboarding roots in the best possible way. They don't forget that that's what they are.
We need that right now.
Aside from the big projects, though, there's also been so many indie projects. Like, holy shit, that could fucking be its own episode, too, just talking about all the independent videos that have come out. But the one I really want to focus on for just a minute here is the Old Friends video, because that is pretty local to us. A bunch of people we know are involved in that, and it's good to see. They've got a great team, and not only that, Walker Ryan and Sibo Walker are dudes who have just been consistently killing it throughout their whole career. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, those are dudes who could put out a video part every month, and it would all be fucking the craziest shit we've ever seen.
2 SOTY contenders, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't...
That's Sibo's second part.
Yeah.
Or maybe even third of the year.
Well, I know he did the part where it's like 9 days in New York and shit like that. But he's a dude who's just so fucking talented. You can understand why the Gons would have plugged him for Crooked. But then Walker Ryan, who's his board sponsor even right now? I don't even know if he has one.
I couldn't tell you. He might be sponsorless.
Yeah. I know he was free agent for a while after Organica. But Walker Ryan is so fucking talented, and this Old Friends video really allows him to fucking shine through and show what he's capable of. But then the best part, too, is that you have a bunch of our friends in that video who, you know, they get to share a video with Walker Ryan and Sibo Walker, two dudes who are fucking just some of skating's most interesting and creative pros.
That video had a cool aesthetic because you have someone like Dave Hebert who's like...
Yeah, I forgot about Dave Hebert.
Who's like doing a lot of gnarly like San Francisco city shit, like a lot of gnarly one-hit hill bomb stuff. And then you got someone like Nick Klein who's super smooth, can, you know, kind of like more low-impact street skating. And you have dudes like Walker and Sibo who can kind of do it all.
And not only that, they're so like
the video
tech
has a cool
too.
Aesthetic to it.
They're really technical, but they go really big. I don't know. I could talk about Sibo Walker for fucking ever because I think he's one of the fucking most interesting skaters out there right now.
Yeah.
But as we talk about these guys and everything that's happened, the real question comes around. Who is going to be Skater of the Year in 2019? You have...
Soft push right now.
You have the first SOTY award that's not being handpicked by Jake Phelps, which is a huge step in a different direction. That being said, who's it going to be? Well, we've brought up Walker Ryan and Sibo Walker. I think Sibo would get it above Walker just because he's done more this year. But then we got the big push from Mark Suciu for this new part that he just put out, which was amazing. You can see that he's found new ways to adapt his quick feet to the modern world. A lot of like consistent like ollie type shit, like really fast, which reminds me of some of that Sour Solution shit. But he still is going big, and he's still doing all these other tricks over these bigger spots. That back nose blunt down that fucking black marble hubba in New York was crazy. Like, he's still able to do tricks at spots where you thought all the tricks had been done.
Yeah.
Those step-up ledges in New York, too, where he's doing, like, blunt to fucking 5-0 and shit. Like, it's insane.
Well, he's been on the forefront of pushing skateboarding for a while now.
Well over a decade at this point.
My predictions, if I think I know the industry and its politics and just what people are feeling and what's trendy right now, I think the top three of the top dudes is going to be Mark Suciu and Cater.
Cater? Really?
Yeah, man. Mark my words. I think, and I'm sorry, Mark Suciu, Cater, and Miles Silvis.
I think Suciu and Miles Silvis are fucking major contenders, especially since Miles is probably going to be putting out more parts before the year is up with him getting on Primitive and everything. And, I mean, Mark Suciu just pushed the game forward so hard with this 11-minute edit of all him.
Well, I
but
feel like a
Cater,
lot is coming still.
Yeah,
also.
Well, I guess that's the thing. With Baker 4 around the corner, we might see some shit from Cater that we didn't think was possible. But also, that being said, like, we haven't seen the Toy Machine video either. We could get a banging part from Leo Romero that puts him in the running as getting it for the second
Colin
time.
Provost.
I think Colin Provost could possibly, if he delivers a huge part, could get it too, because he's a fucking gnarly ATV.
But let's not forget that Supreme apparently has a big San Francisco edit dropping pretty soon here too, which could be a huge factor.
Yeah.
In the front runners.
I know Cater's been on those trips as well, but also, like, who knows what it could mean for someone like Tyshawn, who has been pretty vocal about wanting to get it 2 years in a row.
I wanted to bring that up. I've seen him claiming that shit on the internet several times, that back to back, and it's like, okay, he hasn't, put out a ton this year, but they still got that coming. But that makes me think about Cater even more, because the Baker video is about to come out and that Supreme edit. Mm-hmm. So look for that. And he's just all over the gram. He's all over everyone else's gram, and there's a lot of eyes on him right now. So I think that's just kind of how that decision goes with Thrasher. But those are my 3 top picks right now.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Miles, Mark, and I'm not gonna even bother with a third. I gotta see those other 3 full lengths to really like put another solid bet down on the table. But we're gonna be finding out in a couple months. It's coming up quicker than we can fathom.
That's right. You'll see us at Skater of the Year, bitches. I'll be the one with the huge backwood blunts and a beanie.
We can only hope.